Hello, Oracles! Well, Tesla sets the facts straight. Recently, we heard news about Giga New York wanting to set up a union in the autopilot team. And then we heard news that Tesla had fired those employees. Well, Tesla here sets the facts straight. We will go over that along with some other information about FSD and the stock price and how it came down yesterday. We'll get into all of that in just a minute. All right, so quick look at the charts. Pre-market down about a 0.5%, pushing back over that $200 level. We were down as low as 197 last night after hours. So again, there was a sharp drop that came in the last half of the day yesterday. Just wondering how this is going to play out going forward. Now, we got some information yesterday about FSD and the recall that was put out there, and some people thought that that was the reason that the stock price pulled down, but you had to look at the entire market and everything pulled down in the last half of the day yesterday. We got our PPI data that came in yesterday morning, and it was a lot higher than expected. And so, because of that, we got a negative reaction, but then kind of a delayed reaction into the later half of the day. And then the stock and the entire market ended up selling off. And while, yes, Tesla did underperform the market significantly, that may have been due to the news about that recall. But I think that the entire market was pulling down and just Tesla happened to fall with it. Don't forget, Tesla has been outperforming the market for the last couple of weeks as well, with all of this hot anticipation going into Investor Day. And so, looking at Tesla's response to this Giga New York situation with the unions and the people getting fired, here is their official response. There is false allegation that Tesla terminated employees in response to a new union campaign. These are the facts behind the event. Tesla conducts performance review cycles every 6 months. Employees receive a performance rating from 1 to 5 in each cycle that helps them calibrate their work with the expectations of their job. In the worst case, if an employee fails to meet their performance expectations, they will be let go. The review process takes place globally, including in North America, Europe, China, etc. It is not localized to Buffalo. The most recent performance review cycle was from July 2022 through December 2022. On December 13th, 2022, managers across the company received a communication regarding the review schedule. This included information noting that exits for low performers would start the week of February 12th, 2023. Approximately 4% of the employees on the autopilot labeling team in Buffalo were exited as a result of their performance review cycle. The employees let go as part of this process received prior feedback on their poor performance from their managers over the course of the review period. Despite feedback, they did not demonstrate sufficient improvement. The impacted employees were identified on February 3rd, 2023, which was well before the union campaign was announced. We became aware of organizing activities approximately 10 days later. We learned in hindsight that 1 out of the 27 impacted employees officially identified as part of the union campaign. This exercise predated any union campaign. The labeling team in Buffalo, New York, has been growing over the last several months at an average rate of around 10 employees a week. Over the last 6 months, the department's employee base has grown 54%, from 437 employees to 675 employees as of the beginning of this week. The reason there is time monitoring for image labeling is to improve the ease of use of our labeling software. Since its purpose is to calculate how long it takes to label an image, there is nothing to be gained by delaying bathroom breaks. The claim that Tesla pressures employees to do so is categorically false. Our employees in Buffalo are core to our mission of accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy, helping to build superchargers, solar roof, and power electronics for many applications. So that is Tesla's official response to what is going on. So it seems like the timing is off on this. Yes, there were employees that were terminated over in Buffalo, but those were all performance-based review terminations versus a unionized campaign type situation. That unionized campaign came well after the terminations took place. So, with this being said, I am a manager myself. I know what it's like to go through these review cycles. We do ours once a year. One of the things I learned as a manager is if you go into a review or you go into a sit down meeting with someone and they don't know what to expect, you have not been doing your job as a manager. In the case of Tesla here, they do it every 6 months, which tells me that they give very clear communication all along the way as to what performance expectations are for their employees. You got to remember, they move way faster than most other companies out there. And because of the pace that they're moving, they're pushing people. But we also have to remember that between SpaceX and Tesla, those are the top two companies that engineers, new young engineers, want to go work for. So Tesla has a huge pool of talent to be able to dive into and pull people out. So they have the luxury of saying, hey, you are not performing up to par. We need you to do better. If you're not going to do better, we can replace you because we have a large pool of people to pick from to be able to replace you. This is the advantage of being Tesla and SpaceX. This just goes and supports that bullish thesis even more, especially on the talent and culture side of things. So Tesla has this ability to do this and they can get rid of people. There's a lot of other companies out there right now who are kind of like struggling to find help. So they kind of have to keep on people who are not the best for the position because they just need someone there. Tesla is not in that position. If Tesla has people that are not performing up to the top shape that they need them to be in, they'll find somebody who will do it. And so, based upon the information that we were given from Tesla, the union situation was not related to the terminations, but as to what I had said previously about this when we first heard this news, was I have a feeling that there are some disgruntled employees that are sitting over there in Buffalo and they don't want to have to push harder. And so they're trying to bring a union in so that they can say, hey, we're getting pushed too hard. We don't want to work. People point at millennials for being lazy like this. I'm not going to do that because every single generation has lazy people. It's not just the millennials. So the way I'm looking at it is this is just probably one of those situations where these people maybe just didn't have that same belief in the mission and that same push and drive that many other people in the company do. And because of that, they're like, you know what? This isn't fair. I'm tired. I'm cranky. And because of their laziness, they were too lazy to go out and find another job outside of Tesla. So they were trying to bring the union in from the outside to say, hey, we want to be able to do this a little bit slower because we don't want to work as hard. Now, that's just my take on it from my experience because I have personally seen that happen before in other companies that I have worked for. And it's people who just don't want to put forth that extra effort that the company is looking for. And because of that, and because of the fact that they're too lazy to go get another job, they're trying to bring somebody in to allow them to work less at the same current job that they are at. And now I have seen this at every single company that I have managed for. I see people who come in there and will actually work harder to not do their job and get somebody else in there to prevent them from having to work hard than if they just did their darn job. So none of the jobs I have worked for have been union, but I have had people threaten to bring the union in because they thought we were being too hard. I am a very lenient manager myself. I'm actually pretty too lenient. The problem is when you actually have people who are dragging down like that, you bring everyone else down. Then you have people who are working hard and really do want to be there and drive the company forward end up getting upset because management is allowing that behavior to go on. So this is why you go through review processes like Tesla is doing to be able to eliminate that, get rid of that, and keep that positive culture going forward. And quite honestly, I've had direct conversations with these people myself and just said, look, if you don't want to be here, leave, go find something else. Because in my opinion, everyone is a hard worker, but they will work hard for whatever they feel is the right mission for them. And if it's not the right place for you, go find that right place. But don't bring everyone else down with you just because you don't think it's right for you. That, again, is just what I have experienced personally in my life. So, whether that's what happened here, I don't know. But from the facts that we have gotten from Tesla, the union situation and these employees being terminated were not related. They were terminated well before this union campaign even came up. Now, they did not address anything else that was going on with this union campaign. I do not know if this union campaign is still ongoing. We did not get that information. If anybody does have that information, please do share in the comments below. And now jumping over to the FSD side of things, and when we had that recall that came in yesterday, we've got Holmar's catalog coming out saying, this is the worst nightmare for Tesla shorts, who dreamed for years that NHTSA would ban autopilot and FSD. NHTSA has reviewed FSD beta, and instead of banning it, they asked for new updates to go out. So this is basically NHTSA coming out saying, we understand what you are doing, we see how this is going to be better and safer for people on the roads, but along the way, we're going to need you to update this appropriately to make sure that it does continue to get safer for people on the roads and not be unsafe. So, for those people who were hoping that this was all going to get banned and go away entirely, and Nitsa was going to shut them down so shorts were going to win the day, looks like we're going in the opposite direction. So, as long as Tesla continues to update and make improvements on this, Nitsa is all on board with it. So, tonight we are going to be having Jen Strahan on here. We're going to be discussing what's going on with the entire macro environment. We got that PPI data in yesterday. She knows a lot about the housing market, and that sometimes does relate to the stock market as well. So, we're going to be discussing a lot of the macro environment things and how that can play into Tesla in the near term. Now, again, we've been talking about a potential pullback. For me personally, I think it's coming between March and May. Perhaps yesterday was the start of that. Maybe it's happening sooner. Truly don't know. But as Elon said himself, during times like this, where the economy is very uncertain, you can get very irrational movements in stock prices. So, for everyone out there saying that there's no way Tesla can come down, even Elon says anything is possible. You have to keep your eyes open and be ready for anything. There's a reason that Tesla is sitting on such a monster pile of cash. There's a reason why big money is out there and institutions are sitting on big piles of cash. There's a reason everyone out there is sitting on big piles of cash who know what's going on and have been through situations like this. They understand the uncertainty, and the best place to be is in cash. So, again, I still add every day, but I have been adding more to cash than I have before because of the fact that people who are much smarter than I am are doing just that. I'm really just following their lead and trying to do my best to be ready and agile enough to take advantage of any opportunities that present themselves. And so tonight, Jen and I are going to be discussing some of that and some of the different plays that we have been talking about to maybe make some money on the way down and on the way back up again. I mentioned last night that I'm in SQQQ, so I'm going to be checking that out so far, looking like a good move for me. But again, some people say that it's a short term move. And when we look at the chart for SQQQ, you can see this level right here at right 35, right around where I bought it at. One bounce, two bounce, three bounce. And again, if you mirror this up, and it's not a direct relation to TSLA, but if you do that and look at the fact that we've been bouncing at that 214 level pretty hard, that's very similar to this. So this is the inverse NASDAQ 100. So looking at this here, if we are going to bounce off of this, we could end up coming back up. Now you look up here at the top end of this, and it looks like it pushes up to about that $65 level. And looking at how this was about 5 or 6 months in the making, looking at my timing for the market and the next few months being the time where we end up pulling down, this again could be that next cycle coming back up again. So I could be making double my money on this, potentially, not financial advice, but I could be doubling my money on this almost to get up to here. When we hit this level again, I would pay attention to this, take my money out, put it into TSLA, which will most likely at that time be near the bottom, and then go from there. Now, again, very risky. I am only doing it with just 5 shares of SQQQ just to kind of test this and see how this is going to play out, kind of for my own knowledge. But looking at the charts, looking at how that has played out in the past, this could potentially be a good move to be able to build up that extra cash, make that profit on SQQQ rather than having it sitting in cash in my portfolio. Then I could take that money, turn it around, and add those extra profits into Tesla when Tesla is low, and then be able to add more shares at that point. So again, that's just what I am trying to do right now and testing this theory out. And we will see over the next few months if it actually works. So you guys can let us know in the comments below what other strategies you are using if you see a cycle like this coming, if you are going to be adding to some other positions that may actually make you some money over the next few months if Tesla ends up pulling down. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate the support, and I look forward to seeing you all on tonight with Jen. Have a great one.